These weight loss medications are really popular these days, and many people are experiencing incredible results. You might even be thinking about trying it yourself if you're not on it already. Hi, everybody. It's Adele here and Coach Tiffany, and we have a fun talk today. We're going to be talking about weight loss medications. I don't know if you know this. I was just looking at AARP magazine yesterday, and I read that in 2022, healthcare professionals wrote more than 5 million weight loss prescriptions for various versions of semaglutide, the generic name for the diabetes drug that's become a fat-fighting sensation. Okay, so that was just for semaglutide. These weight loss medications are really popular these days, and many people are experiencing incredible results. You might even be thinking about trying it yourself if you're not on it already. We're talking about things like Semaglutide, Tirzepatide, or brand name labels like Wegovy, Ozempic, or Mounjaro. But medications always carry risk, and that has to be outweighed by the benefits that they bring. So for me, as a nutritionist, I do have some concerns when people are not eating enough food, and so does Tiffany. And we thought we would put together the top 5 things that you need to stop doing if you're on these weight loss medications. There is a healthy way to lose a lot of weight, okay? And to lose weight quickly, there's a healthy way, and we help people with that. We're going to be talking about some of these risks and what people need to know. And actually, in putting together a presentation yesterday, I was coming up with these ideas. And then I thought, why not go to Reddit? I'm in some Reddit community threads. And on Reddit, people are always talking about their experiences. And so I asked the group, what is the number one mistake people make when they're on these weight loss medications? And boy, did I get a response. That question was asked less than 24 hours ago. And so far, there's over 65 comments on that thread. And so we thought we would share with you some of the feedback from people who are on these meds and experiencing both the benefits, but also some of the drawbacks of being on these meds. So you're going to hear it from that community. So I think I'm going to go ahead and share screenshots of their exact comments with you so you can see for yourself. And then we're going to talk about some of these comments from our viewpoint as nutrition coaches and diet coaches. Anything you want to add, Tiffany?
Yeah, so while you're pulling that up, I do want to point out to everybody watching this, we're not anti-medications to help you reach your goals, but we want to make sure that you're armed with the knowledge in order to make you reach your goals safely with or without the aid of medication.
Yeah, 100%. We are not against these. We coach people on these medications. We also coach a lot of people who are not on these medications. Our highest priority is that you lose weight safely and healthily. In a healthy, safely and healthily. Healthily, I guess would be better. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. So here was the question I asked on Reddit. What is the number one weight loss medication mistake people make? Here was some of the feedback. All right, first, this was interesting. Not getting baseline labs before you start. Why do you think this person said that, Tiffany?
Well, I think that there are so many changes that help with your that happen whenever you lose weight. So with your health markers specifically, blood sugar, blood pressure, things like that can really change. So getting that baseline is going to let you know where you're seeing those improvements and how your health markers are changing overall.
Because of weight loss. Yeah. Agreed. Also, though, there are, as I mentioned, some risks with this medication. And so people have to be concerned about potentially developing pancreatitis and those types of things. So you should be monitored for that. Another comment was thinking you can use it only for a few months and stop. Not planning for the high cost once insurance or the coupon coverage stops. That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, and I think that the big thing here is thinking that you can only use it for a few months and stop. For some people, you might be able to, but for others, you may have to be on this for an extended period of time. And using the medication without making other changes is where it can be very difficult to stop the medication. If you use medication to reach your goals, but you don't make diet, lifestyle changes, chances are you're going to regain the weight. And that can be a very frustrating process.
For sure. And, I don't know if people are aware, but some insurance companies won't insure this. And some insurance companies will. And in different countries, it's different rules. I think in England, it's 3 months maximum that you can be on this to lose the weight. But, and it will only be prescribed by some physicians if you have tried other means for 2 years. And they're just not working. Like there's all kinds of conditions and they completely vary by region, by insurance provider, et cetera. So some people, unfortunately, are going on this and they're only allowed these medications for 90 days. And then they are forced to come off for a period of time. And these medications are expensive. We are talking about $1,200 out of pocket for these brand name drugs. When people go to the compounding pharmacies and don't use the brand name drugs, I believe they vary in price from $400 to $550 a month, depending on dosage. So be prepared to be out of pocket for this. And as Tiffany mentioned, some people do need to remain on these because obesity is now being seen as a disease. And it's just like other diseases. You may need to be on these meds for life, possibly at a lower dose to maintain your weight loss, like higher to lose the weight, and then you titrate down to a lower dose for maintenance. But there's going to be a cost involved. All right. Next one, not getting in electrolytes, not paying attention to, I think they meant like bowel movements and letting constipation go on too long and not getting in enough water. Do you want to talk about that from a health coaching perspective, Tiffany?
So whenever you don't get enough electrolytes, there's going to be some negative side effects in your body. There's a big one that comes to mind is your body just doesn't feel good. You can tend to have headaches. That's when you can start getting in a lot of nausea. Or if you're not getting enough water, then you're more likely to be constipated. And if you're constipated, then things can just really go downhill. So making sure that you're getting your water intake is going to be helpful with just regulating your body overall. And again, the electrolytes can really be helpful with just any side effects that you could potentially come across with the medication as well.
Yeah, like another person, electrolytes. This will take care of a lot of the side effects. One of those side effects can be headaches, as Tiffany mentioned. Another could be cramps in your legs at night, especially. And this person said, get enough protein and meal plan. You don't want to lose muscle mass on this. You want to lose more body fat. Muscle is so incredibly hard to grow back. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Next one, going below 1,300 calories, which may cause hair loss. This happened to me. The hair loss goes on for months and is quite scary. Not getting enough protein. And this person said 60 to 80. I think they meant macrograms a day. We would consider that still low. Not exercising, not creating a calorie deficit, not creating healthy balanced meals with plenty of protein, veggies, fruit. And they put high glycemic carbs, which is interesting. To be honest, the glycemic level of the carbs do not matter for people who don't have diabetes, and they actually matter marginally for people with diabetes if you're eating a meal that is balanced with protein and fats and fiber. Type of carbohydrate doesn't matter much for weight loss. As long as you're in a calorie deficit, even if you ate Twinkies, you would still lose weight. But that's a little bit of an aside. So I disagree with that post. But I think that was a typo. They meant low glycemic carbs, but that wouldn't matter. Hair loss, though, yes. People typically experience hair loss below 800 calories. So for this person, they experienced it at less than 1,300 calories. Possibly they were a larger person and their calorie needs were much higher than that. Any thoughts there, Tiffany?
Yeah, something that comes to mind there is if they dropped their fat intake down a bit too much, that could be playing into the hair loss too, because your fat intake can help with your hormonal balance and stuff like that. When our hormones are out of whack, that's when our hair loss can start to happen. So that's a possible explanation for what happened there. But I do agree that if you're not careful, if you're not paying attention to your overall macro split, then yeah, you can see changes like that as well.
Yes, it's not just about how much you're eating, the calories. It's also about the types of food that you're eating that can impact your health. Here, no working out. I have no muscle left. So that would be somebody who lost a lot of weight and did not exercise while they were losing the weight. Here's another person, not creating a sustainable lifelong diet and not eating enough protein and doing strength training to preserve muscle mass. Another one, not doing resistance exercises. You lose so much muscle that once the fat is off, you look emaciated. So we can see a common theme here, right? Exercise, eat enough protein. You need to preserve your muscle. Why? Because muscle really helps with your metabolic health, but it also helps with your shape. When we lose weight, We don't just lose fat tissue, we lose muscle tissue and we lose bone density, especially during rapid weight loss. And so we need to be really careful that we're holding onto our muscle as much as we can. Muscle also helps with bone density, and working out helps to preserve bone density and muscle mass. And so this is really, really important.
Yeah, I think that it's also a great way to look at this is the more muscle mass you have, typically the better quality of life you're going to have as well. If you don't
Yes.
have muscle mass, you're lacking strength. You're lacking the ability to move your body. Things that you might look at someone else and say, "Oh, I wish I could do that." If you had a little bit more muscle, perhaps you could. So when we look at it from that aspect as well, keeping that muscle mass is really important.
Yeah, you want to be able to get off the toilet when you're 70 years old, right? Or out of a chair. You want to be able to go upstairs. You want some upper body strength to carry groceries and things like that. Play with your kids. Okay, so here's another one. Thinking that it's a replacement for a healthy lifestyle. You'll feel sick and not get good results if you continue to eat badly, not exercise, not work on your mindset, and not stay hydrated. You still have to participate in your own progress and stay out of the medication's way. It's a tool, not a cure. Another one, thinking that the medication on its own will do all the work. You can't eat like trash or not exercise. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory, hey? But this is the first time somebody mentions mindset, which I think is so interesting.
I love it. And I just want to clarify here is doing this changing mindset, changing lifestyle, it does not mean that you have to completely cut out all the foods that you enjoy eating. That's just not a realistic long-term approach either. So having the mindset of, yeah, I'm going to change the way that I eat. I'm going to try to eat more nutritiously dense foods, but I'm also going to allow myself to have that cake, that pie, that ice cream, that cookie, that the pretzels from time to time. I'm just going to moderate it instead of sitting on the couch with an entire bag of it.
All right, next one. This person said, I am shocked by the number of people who say they're basically not eating. I would say not paying attention to the amount of calories you're ingesting, whether they're eating too much or too little, and also not focusing on protein. Also, I think many people are titrating up too quickly. This means increasing the dosage of their medication too quickly, but also expecting too much weight loss too soon. It probably took years to put on. You're not going to lose it instantly. Oh, one more thing, thinking really serious side effects are normal and continuing to move up in dose, even if they're barely able to eat or are constantly throwing up. And then this other person replied, rushing to increase dose. You can go for a couple of months or more on a dose and continue to lose. Yeah, there are people who are rushing their dosage, and there is a dosing scheme that the pharmaceutical companies want everyone to follow, and your physician should be having you follow it and should not be titrating you up as long as you're still losing weight and getting results. And there are people who are on too high a dose, and if they're titrating up too quickly, they're going to get some severe side effects, things like nausea, vomiting. They could have constipation. They could have diarrhea. And some of these actual side effects can be quite severe. We could be talking about gallstones, pancreatitis, things like that. So if you are having serious side effects, don't accept them as normal. Talk to your physician about them. Maybe you need to lower your dose. Don't rush this. The thing with these medications is they sort of stack. So in week 1, you might not feel much of an impact, or you might immediately, but it varies with each person. Week 2, it can become stronger. Week 3 is when it might reach maximum impact at that new dose. So don't expect miracles right away. It has a cumulative effect. And even when you stop, you may not have your natural hunger return right away. For some people, it might. Again, it really does vary between individuals. Some people experience no side effects. Some people experience really strong ones, even at the minimum dose. So this is something you should be working with your healthcare provider on.
I think that it's important to realize that there are multiple medications on the market now to help you with this. So if you're experiencing side effects from one, try a different one. You don't have to stick with that one just because Joe and Sally had fantastic results on this specific medication. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's going to respond differently. So a medication that worked great for myself, maybe someone else can't have it because they have an allergy or something to it. That's okay. The other thing that I really wanted to point out from here is that this person said, whether they're eating too much or too little, to be paying attention to the calories that they're ingesting. Because let's be honest, you can eat too little. You could starve to death. Let's not do that. We want to make sure that we're doing this again in a healthy way. If you're not taking in enough nutrition, you're not fueling your body properly, you're going to end up having some nutritional deficiencies, and that can take a long time to recover from.
Mm-hmm. And eating too much, it could be because you're on too low a dose and you need to go on a higher dose. And some people have to be at the highest dose to really start shedding the pounds. And it could take 5 months to get to that highest dose based on the dosing recommendations. And some people experience the absence of hunger on the lowest dose right away. So it varies. And like Tiffany says, it varies. We know from the research that semaglutide is based, or like Ozempic, like has more side effects, it would seem, than Mounjaro, but it also has less stellar results for weight loss. I can't recall the numbers exactly, but I believe an average of 7 or 7.9% or something of body weight was lost on average. Of course, there's outliers who lose less and some who lose more. And then Mounjaro had around 15%-ish, I believe, for the percentage of body weight loss. So quite a difference between the two medications in terms of the amount of weight that people can shed on those medications on average. But also symptoms also vary with the different medications. Unrealistic expectations, thinking you're going to lose 5 pounds a week every week without stalls and some gains. Some people lose quickly while others are slow losers. Comparison is the thief of joy. Thinking the medication will do all the work, you still need to put in the effort. Thinking this is a medication that can help you with anorexia versus a medication that helps you with health. Just because you feel like you don't need to eat doesn't mean your body doesn't actually need fuel. Any thoughts there, Tiffany?
Yeah. So one of the big things that we tell our clients is that we want you to think of your weight loss or your progress kind of like you're riding a roller coaster. There's going to be the uphills, there's going to be downhills, there's going to be flat lines. You're going to be all over the place. And just because you're taking a medication does not change that. Your body is going to have fluctuations. There's so many things that cause fluctuations on the scale that it's just not worth kind of getting upset about every time the scale goes up half a pound or down half a pound. It's going to balance out. Pay attention to the weekly averages. And yeah, some people lose weight a little bit slower than other people. And that, can generally go back to genetics and lifestyle. Some people are more active than others. All of that plays a role in this. And again, the medication is not going to do the work for you. If you live a sedentary lifestyle and you continue to live a sedentary lifestyle, probably going to be on the slower end of things. But if you slowly start to add more exercise and movement in, maybe that'll speed up the process a little bit. That lifestyle change, changing the foundation of the foods that you eat, looking at it that way, building off that foundation. If your foundation of your food choices are your healthy fats, are your protein sources, your veggies, your fruits, and then you add the extras in, then you can still have a lot of variety. You're just building on that foundation.
Yeah, everyone is unique. Like Tiffany said, your genetics may mean that you are a faster loser or a slower loser, but honestly, we find that mostly it has to do with a person's activity levels, as well as how many calories they're eating every day. And your starting body weight. If you're 300 pounds, you're going to lose weight more quickly than somebody who's 170 pounds. So just be aware of that when you are hearing stories of people losing massive amounts of weight in the first couple months. You don't know what their starting weight was. Also, diabetics lose more slowly than non-diabetics on these weight loss medications. So again, comparison is the thief of joy, like this person said. It's your journey and it's going to be unique for you. We always tell people, you can't control the outcome, but you can control the actions to get the outcome you want, right? So if you're sleeping, if you're hydrating, if you're eating well, if you're moving every day, you can really maximize the results. If you're not being mindful of your diet, if you are not sleeping at least 7 hours a day, if you're not moving much, you're just going to lose more slowly, period. Not changing a poor diet and just eating less crap than you did before. So you went from like a super crappy diet to less crap, I guess. This person says, I see people on Mounjaro groups bragging they can still eat whatever they want and maintain a decent A1C on it. This is crazy to me. If you're a type 2 diabetic, you gave yourself self-inflicted diabetes by your poor food choices. This is nothing to brag about. And this other person wrote, this is wild to me, mostly because I can't tolerate to eat like crap anymore. Sugar, fried stuff, etc. all makes me so sick. And if it's the only thing I eat all day, my body has a meltdown. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've talked about this. You need to, if you have a poor diet, You just got to take this as an opportunity to eat better, especially when you're on so few calories and you're not getting as many nutrients. You got to make those calories count. I think the number one mistake most of us make, especially at the beginning of our weight loss journeys, is that we think that the medication will do all the work for us, or that we don't use the opportunity to make any lifestyle changes. In my opinion, it's so important to use this opportunity to create better and wiser eating habits and to start an exercise regimen whenever possible. Because heaven knows most people aren't able to stay on this med forever due to the cost and the lack of coverage. If they have to go off the meds, then they will be right back to where they started if they haven't developed better eating habits. Another mistake I see is that people tend to think that the medication will totally erase their desire to eat and totally wipe out their appetite. It may happen for some people, particularly at the beginning of each time they titrate up. But for most people, I've found that this side effect doesn't last. People then tend to freak out because they're starting to feel hungry, which is totally normal and to be expected. In my own journey, what I've found is that instead of taking away my appetite, what this medication does is make it easier to control my appetite and be more mindful of what I eat. And in my opinion, that is what the med is intended to do. Just my 2 cents. Well, this person got 64 upvotes on that. And I think this is excellent advice.
Oh, I agree. I mean, she nailed it. It's an opportunity to create better and wiser eating habits and lifestyle habits, because she also mentioned adding in exercise. Again, creating that foundation of foods that you enjoy eating, that's also good for your body, makes your body feel good. That's going to help develop those long-term habits.
Yeah. You know what I'm getting out of these Reddit comments? There's a lot of smart people doing these weight loss drugs. Really. The advice is the same advice we give our clients. And so I'm really proud of these people for sharing this wisdom. It's clear to me that there's a lot of people doing this right. So what lessons can we take from these comments? And we just shared a small sample of them. Yeah. Well, Tiffany and I basically have gone through this and we've kind of summarized or lumped into categories the different advice. So if you'd like to hear what that is, we're going to just do a real quick recap. All right, Tiff, do you want to start off?
So after reviewing the slideshow that we just went over, the 5 weight loss medication mistakes that we feel like people are making is 1, not eating enough protein and total calories. Talked about it a lot. Protein is really important for your muscle mass. Calories overall is going to be really important to make sure that you're not going into a nutritional deficient state, which can be bad for you. Not exercising, again, that goes back to your muscle mass. And also it goes back to lifestyle. You want to start creating those long-term habits now that once you stop taking the medication, if you do want to stop taking it, it makes it a lot easier to continue with the habits you've already developed. And when the hunger does come back, you have a plan for moving forward to continue to work towards your goals. The third thing that we noticed is not increasing your dose up fast enough or going up too quickly. So that can be an issue as well. Again, going back to the side effects of the medication. And then the fourth point here, thinking that medications are going to remove all the hunger, or it should remove all the hunger. It's normal to feel hunger, right? And honestly, the great thing about this medication is it helps you control your response to that hunger, which helps you get comfortable with hunger. So when you are at maintenance and you're not on this medication any longer, you can look at your hunger and go, I'm feeling a little hungry. Let me use the tools that I learned while I was on the medication to really think about my hunger and think about whether I actually need to eat right now or if I can wait a little bit. And then the last thing that we really noticed here is, again, not changing your lifestyle and your habits. All of these things really add up to seeing the weight or the scale go back up after the medication ends. And we want to avoid that. So by focusing on these now, you're less likely to see that jump on the scale after you complete the medication rounds.
Yeah. I think most alarming for me as a nutritionist is the risk of eating too little. And therefore, people are depriving themselves of important nutrients like protein or B12, calcium, magnesium. And that will result in the loss of muscle mass, bone density, the hair loss, extreme fatigue. You know, even actually it can affect people's mental health to be deficient in some of these nutrients. So these risks might seem less serious than the ones that are talked about in the headlines, like pancreatitis and gallstones and stuff, but they're much more likely in people who take these drugs. Well, go ahead, Tiffany. Is there anything you wanted to say?
Well, I was just going to say that, the bonus tips, some bonus takeaways that we did not really think about whenever we were first coming up with this topic was, people ignoring the side effects. We definitely want to make sure that you guys are not doing that. And make sure you get those baseline labs. That's pretty interesting and it's great information to have. And you can really keep a track on how your body is responding. Is your overall health responding in a positive way or in a negative way? Because it's possible that it could go either way. So having that baseline is a good starting point. And we
Okay.
just want to ask you guys if any of this sounds familiar. Like, honestly, any of this advice that we talked about today, does it sound familiar? Because it is a lot of the same advice that we give our weight loss clients, whether they're on medications or not. We want our clients to develop a healthy relationship with food, a healthy relationship with their bodies, and that's important as well. How does your body feel? Do you feel comfortable, confident, strong? Because how you feel is so much more important than a number on the scale as well. And then also making sure that you're eating enough and making sure that you have realistic goals and realistic expectations, whether you're on the medication or not.
Yeah, there is a healthy way to lose a lot of weight on these drugs. If you would like to work with us to build a healthier lifestyle with or without weight loss medication, we can help. And if you're on these meds and you're thinking of coming off, or if your insurance will only let you be on them for a few months and you're worried about regaining the weight back, then, please consider working with us. Your doctor can't give you the personal time that we can, or the detailed nutrition advice, can't give you long-term weight management strategies that we can. We have a few different coaching programs to help you lose weight or maintain a weight loss. And if you're interested, you can book a 30-minute consultation with me, free of charge. We can talk about your goals and we can figure out what is the best approach for you right now and then 6 months from now. So just comment below and I'll send you a link to my calendar to book a private call with me if you're interested. I think that's everything today. Hey, Tiff?
Yeah, I think so. You guys should really take advantage of getting that one-on-one free time with Adele, because she has just a phenomenal way of getting to the roots of what's really going on and creating a great plan. I love how well you're able to communicate with others.
Well, I appreciate that, Tiffany. Thank you. Okay, we will see you in December for our next Facebook Live. Thanks for tuning in. All right, take care.